Yeah, I thought yesterday's twists and turns in the LeBron saga were kind of telling.
Yeah. Even though there were no actual twists and turns.
No, but the reporting, the rumors, they all add up at this point. And
Yeah.
Jason mentioned in the first hour he had a take on this, and I'm very curious to see what he has to say. But in case anyone missed it, we had three pretty newsworthy reports that came out yesterday that all kind of tie together. So the first one that came out came from the Dallas Hoops Journal, which is involved with something we'll get to in a second, who reported that Clutch is attempting to get Anthony Davis traded to the Cavs or Warriors to team up with LeBron James, which we had talked about in the past how that could be a possibility. A little later in the day, from the same source, Dallas Hoops Journal, they reported that Rich Paul has told teams around the league to fill their rosters and not wait on LeBron. Dave McMenamin also reported that. Rich Paul saying, quote, "If you have empty roster spots, don't wait on us. Fill them." And then Kevin O'Connor, who leads Yahoo Sports' NBA coverage, late last night tweeted this: "Sources believe LeBron James is slow playing his decision to see if any of his suitors can find a way to land Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving. The problem is that AD and Kyrie don't seem available for trade." More on LeBron's choices at his article on Yahoo Sports. Jason, this has been prolonged quite a bit.
The NBA.
We are over 3.5 weeks into the start of free agency. LeBron James still hasn't made a decision. We are all anxiously waiting for LeBron to decide. It appears, based on this reporting, that Clutch wants one of the teams trying to vie for LeBron's services to trade for one of his former teammates. Do you believe LeBron at this stage of his career should still have the power to essentially bully one of these teams into making a trade for his friend? And
Well,
with the
before we ask that,
qualification,
shouldn't we discuss how much we're buying into these rumors?
I want to hear Jason first, then we'll get
All
into
right,
the rumors
Jason
because
first.
I think they play back and forth. And Anthony Davis and
Okay.
Kyrie Irving, very good players. So it's not just
So what's the
end
question?
of the rotation,
What
guys.
was the question?
Should
Do
he
you
still have the
think-
power to bully?
LeBron should have the power at this stage of his career to force teams to make other moves first before he signs with them.
No.
It's irrelevant if he should or not. He does.
No, he doesn't.
You don't think so?
No.
Has either Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving been traded yet?
No one's tearing apart their roster to try and lure him in. And listen,
Yeah.
I mean, Rich, to his credit,
Yeah.
basically held New Orleans at gunpoint and got Anthony Davis traded from New Orleans to LA to play with LeBron.
Yeah.
I know it's remarkable that he was able to pull that off.
Yeah.
But that was a long time ago, and those were different players. I don't think at this stage, at the type of player he is, LeBron is a phenomenal talent. He's wonderful still. But I don't think he's, at 41 years of age, I don't think that you start bending to all of his whims again. I don't. I just don't think that he's worth it.
Well, we'll see. I don't. You said, have they been traded yet? No.
Here's
but
the I guess
that's because they don't know where he's.
here's how
They're
it's
gonna wait to see if they.
if you want to trade for Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving, you
Yeah.
better trade for Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving because you think they're a top talent who can help your team,
Yeah.
not because you're
Right.
trying to lure LeBron. Does that make sense? I'm not doing
In
it.
theory,
yes.
it does, but that's not the reality. I don't think.
I don't think we're at the. I don't think at this stage because he's going to be here for a year, maybe two. Maybe
Right, but
two.
in the Cavs case, that's all they have anyway, don't they?
I don't think it's. I wouldn't do it. I wouldn't start tearing apart the roster.
But would
Just
you
to
have
fit
to
him.
tear apart the roster to get Anthony Davis?
Well, this goes back to.
You'd have to trade Jared Allen and other pieces to make the money.
They're
back.
not available right now. Like their teams don't want to trade them right now.
why wouldn't Washington want to trade?
They're
Anthony
trying
Davis?
to win. They just signed Trey
Washington
Young.
They're
just
trying to
signed
win,
Trae
but
Young to a
wouldn't
max.
Jared Allen plus give them a better chance, right, for where they are? They're trying to win, but they're not going to win anything this year.
Zach, I agree with you. I think Davis for Strus, Allen, plus whatever else you want to fill in is a viable, sensible trade for both sides.
And
If
isn't
you're
that a
the
good trade
Cavs-
for the Cavs?
Yeah, I mean, would I do it? Yes, I've talked about this
Yeah.
before. I think it puts them, Cleveland would have a higher ceiling with Anthony Davis, fully acknowledging the fact that the injury risk with him is huge, and it could backfire in your face if he can't stay healthy. But I think your championship ceiling is higher with Anthony Davis than it is with Jared Allen and Max Strus.
I agree that your championship ceiling is higher with Anthony Davis, but you just traded away one player as a distressed asset because he couldn't stay healthy and you couldn't count on him to play in June. Why would you bring in another
But don't
one?
because in my mind they have, however long LeBron's going to play, whether it's 1 or 2 years, That's their window to win a championship. So to me, you got to raise. The Cavs are already maybe a long shot.
But that's why I'm like, if you're going to make a move because you like the move and you like the fit of the roster. Don't make the move because you're trying to acquiesce LeBron. I guess is the point I'm trying to make.
So then the Cavs should trade for Anthony Davis anyway.
And that gets into the gray area of, is LeBron forcing this, or does the team view like these are the two moves that we've always wanted? And correct me if I'm wrong here, I don't remember, but we're in week 3, week 4. On day 3 or 4, there was a strong rumor of this, right? Of if he's coming, Anthony Davis is coming too. But that's a long time ago.
Who would you rather have on this team, Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving?
Well, it's two very different packages you have to give up to get.
What would you have to give up to get Kyrie in theory?
Well, considering Dallas has about 17 centers.
Okay, so what would you have to give? Give me a potential.
James Harden has to be I don't know how you get him without James Harden.
Yeah.
Would they want James Harden?
I don't know. And back to the discussion we had in the first hour.
Yeah.
It feels like they promised James Harden they were going to sign him to an extension.
I know, but if he gets his money, does he care where he is?
What does Dallas want him, especially if they're moving on from Kyrie?
Yeah, I know.
And I don't know the answer to that.
Forget what it would take. Let's assume it would take the same thing, which is not realistic. But who's a better fit for this team?
Instead of the same thing.
I'm just curious.
For Davis, you're giving up, for just the sake of this, for Davis, you're giving up Jared Allen, Strus plus.
Yeah.
For Kyrie, you're giving up Harden and picks.
Yeah.
For the sake of this, that's what you're swapping out. In that case, I'd rather have Kyrie.
I'd rather have AD. Just for a fit on the Cavs, I'd rather have AD. If you're gonna make me pick between those two,
they're both obviously injury prone.
Both injury prone, very much so. I would take AD.
How's Anthony? Do you know what did Dave say about Anthony Davis to cover? Is he?
He's fine.
Right? He's fine.
Yeah.
Neutral.
Yeah, he's fine.
You know, he was committed to Cleveland State when he was 6'2".
I think I remember
and he
somebody
grew
saying
10
that.
inches in one summer or something crazy.
Where's he from?
Chicago.
Man.
Yeah.
He grew 10 inches in one summer. Really?
Some crazy.
He grew 8.
Number,
he went from 6'2" to 6'10", and went from being a Cleveland State commit to the number 1 overall high school prospect, committed to play for Coach Cal, winning the national championship for the Wildcats.
Because he was a guard. That's why he was a guard.
Yeah.
And
he's
then
a point guard.
And then he grew into a power forward center with guard skills.
Yeah, that is
the way he blocked shots in covered range in college. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
Like, he was unbelievable.
That is crazy.
Zach, do you think LeBron at this stage of his career should have the power to force teams to make moves like this?
I think if you pursue LeBron, you come in understanding that he's going to require and deserve a certain amount of power, I guess. That's a hard one for me to answer. Did I do a good job talking around it, Mike?
You filibuster a little more.
I think he absolutely deserves it, absolutely should have it. And I disagree with you guys that he doesn't. You said it as
I think he ultimately might. I think you might end up being right.
Right, Mike, you're saying as if, look, they haven't traded for those guys. Well, because the teams don't know they have LeBron. Why would they necessarily, if they don't love the idea of that trade, they might not do it. But if LeBron said to the Cavs, hey, you got to trade Jared Allen, get Anthony Davis, and you get me, I think they 100% would do it.
Mike, what do you think? Mike, what do you think right now on day 24 is more true, right? That LeBron has made his decision and is either just waiting for the sake of waiting or deciding how to roll it out, or that he's really leveraging multiple teams for some sort of power move?
I think both.
Well, which is more true, do you think?
That he knows where he's going or is trying to wait it out and see if someone will trade for AD?
Yeah, try to force teams to make a move.
Yeah, I think he's trying to force teams to make a move.
Exactly.
Yeah. And Anthony, what did we record this morning for a separate video? What did I say in that video that we recorded down here?
I didn't listen to a word you said.
I said if
I run the cameraman.
I said if the price for LeBron is AD, go get AD because I like AD anyway.
Exactly. So then you're acknowledging he may still have the power.
Yeah, I said that from the get-go.
No, you didn't. You agreed with Jason that he doesn't have the power. When I said
I don't think he does. I think he should.
Oh, okay.
He should.
Well,
if the cost of LeBron is going to get AD, you go get AD.
Yeah.
Because I said this on the video. When you traded Darius Garland for James Harden, you acknowledge the fact that you are accelerating your championship window. You only have James Harden for another year or two. Donovan's entering, if he's not already at the prime of his career. Evan Mobley at some point.
Out of the prime of his career.
I think he's in his prime right now, and you got 2 years of him at this stage. Evan Mobley entering year 6 now. How much better is he? Like you have fully established that you have a 2-year window to try and win.
Whatever it
if
takes.
that means pushing all your chips on the table to get Anthony Davis, to get LeBron here, whether it's Kyrie, you got to do whatever you can in the second apron era to maximize that championship window. All the future picks, all that, you deal with it when you get there. It doesn't matter if you win a championship. If you have a chance to get LeBron and the cost of LeBron is go get Anthony Davis too, then I like Jared Allen as a player. I think he has a bright future. He's going to be a good center in the league for another 5, 6, 7 years. But I'm not looking past the next 2 seasons because that is when I think I can win an NBA championship. So, for me, if I'm Koby Altman, if the cost of getting LeBron is trading Jared Allen, Max Strus, and some picks, or Jared Allen, Sam Merrill, and some picks to Washington for Anthony Davis,
no-brainer.
Fully understanding the risk, to me, it's a no-brainer.
Yeah.
I disagree with Jason, and I agree with Bull on a basketball topic. Whoever thought you'd see that happen on the Ultimate Cleveland Sports Show.
Mike can be wrong once in a while. It's okay.
Well, all right.
And neither one guy's available for right now, so.
That we know
and that's
of.
the reality.
In the NBA more than any other sport, Jason, you know this, we hear guys are not available and then they get traded.
But no one has met everybody's available. No one. Yeah. I mean, the Cavs are fairly limited in what they can offer.
Well, that's true. Yeah.
So.
Do we think if the Cavs, let's say they can't trade for Anthony Davis or Kyrie Irving, if they sign LeBron, is adding a guy like Jonathan Kuminga a good move at that point? I know if LeBron doesn't come here, who cares about Kuminga because it's feels like leftovers. But would he be a nice piece for them if they could get him in addition to LeBron?
I'd rather have Kuminga than not have Kuminga, but I don't think it changes anything drastic in terms of their ceiling. He's just a piece.
Well, I mean, of course it's not going to change anything drastically. There's not that many players changing drastically.
Kuminga instead of who?
I don't know. Who would he replace? Well, by the way, does Bronny come with whoever LeBron goes? Does Bronny go to that team?
The Lakers, I think, are posturing right now, or playing hardball and saying they like him and they want to keep him. I think that's just a negotiating tactic.
Mm-hmm. To what? It's like some team's going to give up something of value?
Well, you got wherever he goes, you want him. You got to give us something for him.
I mean, you give a second-round pick, right?
It's good business. I'm just saying, the way they're
not just going to give him to you for zero.